Bro.
Benjamin, how we doing, babe?
John, you're a goddamn mess. Look at you.
What the hell's that? I'm in my brother's childhood. Yo, you want to see a mess? So since quarantine started, we've been trying to Zoom in all different places, and it keeps fucking up. So I'm trying to change up where I do it. Look at this goddamn room. It's my brother's childhood bedroom. The whole wall is Fenway.
Oh, I love this. By the way, I'm a Yankees fan. I think that's amazing. That's incredible.
Ben, your hair is it's unbelievable. It's lopsided.
It is 8:40 in the morning here, my man.
Shit.
My man, it is 8:40 in the morning, and I have work now, so I'm eating breakfast while doing this. I'm trying
Let's do it. I love it.
Anything with this, but I've learned that if I don't put anything in it, it's so long it can go in my mouth, and so I have to keep going.
You got a great head of hair, dude.
How are you guys doing through the pandemic and everything?
Wait, is your name John is a mess?
Very clever.
It's not inaccurate. I guess that's how I'm doing through the pandemic.
Yeah.
I like it because it's there's so many things I wondered what I'd look like if I just let it happen, like this beard, for instance. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason not to give it a try. Let's see what I look like with long hair. Let's see what I look like with fucking stringy facial hair. Let's experiment a little bit.
It looks good. I think you're finding. I think you'll shave the beard in the end, but I think you'll keep your hair long.
Man, I assure you, I will shave the beard. That's a promise to you.
Yo, so last time we talked, we were focusing on Sonic, but we mentioned Middleditch and Schwartz.
Yes, and I'm happy
Sonic,
we did.
By the way, massive hit as well.
I know you are on a hot streak, my friend.
So much stuff has happened since the last time we talked. It's kind of crazy.
And you got Space Force coming.
First, let it be known how this conversation started. Literally, Kevin had called me out that he wanted to, or I guess Kevin, for both of you guys, Kevin had called me out saying hey, in one of our previous things, you said that A, you talk after I watched the specials, you talk to us about it, and B, you'd give us tickets. So, and then I said, let's do it. And within, 5 human being minutes, not exaggerating, I'm talking about 5 real, all I had was time to get my cereal and get to my computer. And we are
fast.
We are fit. And all I wrote is a bit was TikTok. And then a second later, Kevin sends me his Zoom link.
We don't lose those opportunities, man. If somebody like you says, let's podcast, we fucking do it. All right.
Let's call it what it was. Let's address how this happened. It was social media ass kissing. That's really what got us here.
If you ever think that just blatant pandering to people doesn't work, you are wrong. Because this is
if you are nice to people, they will respond. Just be kind.
I don't even know. Mean to businesses. That's how Twitter works. Okay. That's how you get the results you want.
Mm-hmm. I really don't even know how to do this without coming across as just ridiculous ass kissing. But the specials are so fucking funny. For a guy like me who I never knew anything about improv, so I never knew how you do it and how you could do it for an hour. And it's if you're new to it, it's genuinely one of the most impressive things you'll ever see.
You're the best. There's a review that you had, John, and you watched them or no?
Oh yeah.
It would be so funny if John's haven't
even seen it.
No, just heard great things though.
John was so excited before we left about seeing him, but I remember you wrote this article. What would you call it, an article?
Blog.
Okay, you wrote this
article's a little too fancy.
Okay, a blog post, and I didn't know that you were going to watch whatever, and it was so nice, and so I copy and pasted a piece of it and was going to write that and then say read the rest of the article, and it ended with whatever you think could blow it out your ass or something. It was such our first review ever that says blah, blah, blah. And then anytime I retweet something, it always looks so narcissistic. So if I take a quote from it, it looks even more egotistical. So
I got you.
I'm having such trouble, because I want everybody to, the only way we get more is if people see them. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to retweet anybody that loves it to get other people to do it. But I literally, the first version of that tweet just had the first review ever that says this thing will whatever blow it at your ass or whatever.
I'm trying to I think that our audience probably wouldn't initially say that improv is for them. And I'm
your review is great.
Please don't let that stop you. At least give it a shot because it's something you've never seen before probably.
Your blog post talking about, because I think that's the biggest thing we're fighting against is that people know what stand-up is. People know what sketch is. People have no idea. People know whose line is it anyway is. People have no idea when two people are coming on stage for an hour and just going to make up a show. They're a little bit like, what the hell is this? And so you explaining that to maybe an audience that has only seen stand up and never seen anything is great. It's huge. That's what we're trying to get.
I watched it. I had no idea, even going into it and having watched the trailer. And obviously there are 3 specials. And in the trailer, you talk to all 3, I believe, or at least 2 of the stories you'll end up using. You talk to the photographer from NYU or from 30 Rock. And then you talk to the wedding people. I don't know if you talk to the law school student. But anyway, I thought you were going to be like regularly doing new stories. I didn't know what long form. I barely knew what improv was. I had no idea what long form improv was. I was stunned to see you guys put.
It's crazy. It's like 58 minutes long. It's nuts. It's insane.
You guys are the best. I'm so happy we did this.
And did I hear correctly that you did 4 total?
Yes, the pair of sneakers, my biggest question. Sneakers that were not shown were the 3 black cements.
Dude, the sneaker game is on point.
It's so funny because I know very little about fashion, but I used to work at Athlete's Foot, so I like sneakers a lot.
So did my babysitter. You know her?
Say it again?
My babysitter owned an Athlete's Foot. She owned a franchise.
Which one?
It's in Massachusetts, in Fall River. Her name was Manuela. She was actually cool. She was one of my very few good babysitters.
Oh, my God. Do you remember all your babysitters?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, buddy, if you know John's babysitter history, they are memorable. Okay.
Really?
Oh, yeah. In not the best ways. Pretty sure John was molested by his babysitter.
Oh, God, John, please.
She had me watch porn. It wasn't like it. Is
that true?
Yeah. It
was. This is not for me to talk about. This is a whole.
We'll cut this.
This is a dark line.
Anyway, back to the show. Because my question was,
there are different versions of improv. So what you're saying, that long form improv, there are versions. There's a show called Ass Cat, which is great, and usually like the veterans, like the old school amazing improvisers. That's the show that me coming up when I was an intern at UCB. That's one that I wished one day I could perform in. Like Amy Poehler's in that, Matt Besser, Matt Walsh, Rachel Dratch, Tina Fey. They all do that show. And in that show, they get exactly what you said. They get a story, and then we do like 6 scenes, and then they ask for another story from a monologist, and then they do 6 scenes, and we take a break. So we do, and then we get 4 stories over the course of 45 minutes or an hour, and then and that's kind of like what it is. So you're right, there is a version of that, but the version that we love is that telling one through line, one narrative. We started doing that, which other people have done, but that's the one that we really like the most because. I think for me writing movies quite a bit and Thomas being really good at writing that we could kind of hold up the story structure for most of the shows. Sometimes we call them bumpy landings where we're trying to call back things from the past and it's just like, hey, what? But sometimes it like him saying that there's an episode where he says he's a ghost just to fuck with me. And then, so what I do as an improviser is I put that here and anything in improv is not a mistake. Whatever happens is supposed to happen in the show. And so I'm like, anywhere I can think to put this ghost that connects it, and hopefully wait long enough for the audience forgot that moment. And so when we say it, the audience is like, what I mean?
Those moments when the ghost comes out, when you guys remember that Nigel was there for like a half hour.
Thomas. That was amazing. Yeah. I was
sitting there like, what about Nigel?
See, that's the other thing. The other thing is that the story is being made up at the same time. We're doing it at the same time as the audience is understanding it. Right. So we're all on the same page. There's not anything that is, you know what I mean? We're all on the same page. So exactly that happened. Like we were going through the things before that and said all the characters and we didn't remember. And the best part about that, it was amazing that Thomas remembered it, but it was even more amazing that was the guy that explained how to get out of the whole situation. Like the person you forgot. That was an incredible move by Thomas. It's one thing to remind everybody that was here, that's a laugh, but it's a fun story plot thing that you don't know how to get out of this? Me, you should have talked to me. I was here the whole time. Like I love that.
I got a text from another guy at Barstool. He said he watched it after I wrote about it. And he said the main thing that he didn't think that you guys would like break the fourth wall and like acknowledge how silly it was. He thought it was kind of like highbrow, comedy, the art, the craft. And that it wasn't just like, this is fucking ridiculous, right, guys? So once he knew it was like that, he was totally on board.
Like, one of my favorite parts is when you guys are remembering Marnie's name. And you no, like, and you're like, I think it's your sister's actual name is Marnie.
Yes, and she was in the audience. Like in real life, my sister was in the audience. And so I don't know if Thomas remembered that, or like we were in the scene. So when I said, that's my sister's name, and then he was about to say, what? And I was like, don't, it would just take it. Like explaining that would just veer us off way too. We don't have no time. This is being filmed, so it's like keeping us track. There are other things also where Thomas, like if you look at the reaction of, I don't know if you saw all three, but the third or the second one, there's an alien. I play an alien, and it's calling back that this woman said this city is known for having an alien in it, but Thomas did not remember that part of the interview.
Yes.
So he told me when we were editing, not even after the show. I mean, we were editing because we have 9 cameras on each scene. So we had to figure out which cameras to put and like what plays the scene the best. And he goes like, yeah, man, when you did that move, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, what are you talking about? She said alien. He goes, oh my God, really? He goes, I thought you were just doing it to fuck with me. I go, no, I was calling back what you were saying.
You could see it because of the way he pretended to open the door and he closed it and was like, I really don't think we want to introduce this to the storyline.
That was all his reaction of being like, what the fuck are you doing is 100% real. Which we do that to each other in the shows all the time. But it was so funny to me that, I mean, like it had to be a month afterwards. We're editing it. And he's like, yeah. I was like, why the hell did you do that? And I was like, are you serious? He's like, oh my God, that's amazing. It was great.
How often during the interview are you either like, oh boy, I mean, obviously it's every time, but how often are you like, hell yes, this is going to be a monster versus, oh, this is going to be a tough one? Because like the first interview, I knew there were a couple of times when it was like, holy shit, this is going to be amazing. But particularly when the 7th of 7 bachelor member of the groom's party starts talking again, and you're like, yeah, it's about time you take over again. I was like, oh, this is gonna be. Okay.
I agree.
And when you hit him with just barely.
Yeah. And what you don't see is when you guys come to the show. So we're supposed. You're right. I just watched the Twitter clip that you guys put up, which seems like you guys do it. Your turnaround is so quick. Whoever the non-video participant is on this thread is very good at their job.
He's the best in the game.
Is that what it is? Okay. What you don't see is, and in our shows that we do for a really long time, is we talk to the audience for a while at the beginning just to get them loose, just to make sure they feel comfortable with us on stage and what we explain what's going on. We also explain even in more detail what we're about to do. But when I was editing with Thomas, we were like, if we keep all of that, which is like 10 minutes, if we keep 10, 11 minutes of us just talking to the audience, people will click off before they see the improv and they'll never see what the show really is. Sure. So we just took away all the part of us fucking with the audience, making jokes at ourselves, making fun of ourselves, and explaining improv in depth every time. And then just kept the part of get to the person that when we ask what it, just get to that part and make it short and get the hell out of there because of that. So what you miss is a lot of us playing with the audience, some, getting happy and stuff like that and doing all that stuff. But
you just ask one. Are you ever like, no, that's stupid, we're not doing that?
No. So sometimes we will, it's always in improv. It's usually the first thing you hear is what you should do. That's just what it is. The idea is like, you shouldn't say no to things. Everything is yes and. Right. But we've done so many shows that if we get like, if we do a wedding one night, someone else has a wedding, our wedding shows will never be the same because it's all about the people. It's the characters that are in it. But what I will do is if that one wasn't going well, I would ask about more characters in their life. Or let's say they're talking about like, I have a job tomorrow that I'm really in my first new job and they don't really know anything about the job. Then you're like, all right, we're already talking to this person. What else? Who are your friends? Like you find things. And then there are people. So that's, you kind of explore enough where you find something that you're like, all right, but you're right. There's sometimes where it's like, sometimes we'll get a really boring thing. Like it's like, I have a job, I put vitamins into a bottle. And you're like, okay, this may be crap. Or taxes. We had one that was taxes. Someone works for the IRS and deals with taxes. But you learn about the people that are around them, and then it doesn't even matter what they do. It could be whatever. And then sometimes you're right, it just sucks. And we're like, all right, well, then we have to invent. And then you could feel us really working hard on stage.
Well, that was my question. Like, at the end of those, are you gassed?
Oh, yeah. And by the way, so sometimes now that we're a little bit more popular, sometimes we sell out and have to do 2 shows in a night. Woo! So we'll do, and the shows for real are an hour and 20 minutes. We had to cut it down because Netflix said comedy plays better on our site if it's under an hour, especially if it's something new. Like stand-up. If Chappelle can do it every once because people know exactly what to expect with Chappelle. Right. But for us to like keep it under an hour, which I thought was really smart too, because then people want to watch the next one. Also, okay, so wait, you asked a great question. What was the question you asked?
Just like if you're gassed when you're done doing it, especially.
So in between shows, and also we get to like, when we're doing Largo, which is our like home court here in LA, we get there 5 minutes before showtime. We put on our little mics and we go out. We talk for 2 seconds. Like because there's no tech or warm up. We've done that, But when we go to theaters, we have to get there an hour and a half beforehand. We have to tech because we have to make sure our mics work with them. And explain to them what the show is. Because anytime we go to a place, in our rider, it says 2 chairs, and that's all it says. And they'll put 2 heavy, like, throne chairs with a table in between because they think we're a podcast. And they put a glass of water for us. And we're like, oh, no, we got to have, like, light chairs. So almost all the shows that we do on tour, we end up having to take one of the chairs from the audience, just like any crappy chair we could find, and put it on stage because all these heavy ones we can't like move around and do our scenes with.
You run a lot.
And
I run out of the gate too.
Yeah,
like because I always feel that brought energy. And Letterman used to do that when I was a page for Letterman. I used to watch Letterman run across the stage before he came out, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But also for me, it's like that the audience is going so like they're so excited when we come out now, which is crazy. That like if I run out, I feel like I'm with that excitement with them, and then I feel like the show just gets started immediately. You know what I mean?
It's hard enough to sit there and just like use your brain for an hour. I think people don't ever really think about that. Like we talk about it with podcasts, which again is an extremely easy job.
No, but it's a form of improv. It's definitely a form of improv. You guys are making shit outside of bullet points that you're going to talk about. You're making shit up the whole time.
Well, at least we're sitting. To do it running and carrying chairs and shit. Like
and the way you guys fuck with each other, like you make him get up and down. Like you're screwing each other over half the time. It's so good.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So if we do back-to-back shows, so our show is an hour and 20 minutes, usually, and we'll do a show, and then if we sell out when we have time to do another one, we don't have to get home early the next day. We'll do another one, and so we'll have like an hour and a half in between, and we are so tired. And so like we'll talk to each other a little bit. We'll just be on our phones.
Right.
We'll just be like, you know what I mean? It'll be like this. And then after the second show, I'm out. Like I'm drenched with sweat. I'm like so tired. And oftentimes you guys know when you do shows or people want to say hello to you backstage and I'll just be like, hey.
Yeah.
But the back-to-backs are the ones that get me. When we do one show, it's pretty good because we've been doing it for so long, but to do what would be 2.5 hours of improv straight it's a lot. And those NYU shows were because we didn't have the money. We had not a lot of money for these. So we did 2 shows a night for 2 nights. So within 26 hours, we did 5 hours of improv.
That's crazy. And you're confident every time you go out there that you would have like a Netflix airable type show?
This is not the most scared. It was the most pressure. It was by far the most pressure we've ever had because we've done hundreds of shows together, ranging from really great to pretty good, but like never any bombs anymore because we've been doing it for 20 years. But like still, like there's a range of like we'll come off stage sometimes and be like, we didn't like that show, we could have done better, but we'll get hard on ourselves. So now it's like it doesn't matter how many good shows you've ever had. You only have 4 shots. Like so, we filmed 4 and we aired 3, and Netflix is like, this is it. Whatever happens, happens. You just got to hope that 3 out of those 4 are airable, and you got to hope that the person like the first show, which is the one we cut for a bunch of reasons. One is we were figuring out how to do the cameras. The other one is we didn't quite learn how to get the boom mic to the audience member in time, so that first one doesn't have great audio of the person that we were interviewing. And also the first guy's interview, although maybe we will air it one day, was about how he's like, what are you dreading or looking forward to? He's like, my girlfriend is leaving her boyfriend right now, literally right now, to come live with me. And her boyfriend has cancer. And we're like, what? And like, so it's like an uncomfortable thing. But the idea of improv is, all right, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And we've had stuff about death. We've had stuff about people being pregnant, being very scared about being mother. We've had like real stuff. And they seem to always like work out because we won't ever dive into our show won't be about we try our best not to be fucked up. You know what I mean? So I remember that. So that when that was happening, but our show isn't about that. But I was like, man, if this is the first show that people see and is right off the bat, this guy is like, you're like, this is not the best dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that show ended up really fun too. And Tom, there's a piece of Thomas that's like, we should edit that one together too. But
I mean, now that like, I think it's a success. What's the response been like in general? Do you
critically, the response has been great. Yeah. Like better than, I mean, I got emotional the first day that we got reviews and people talking about it. It was like emotional for me because imagine doing something for 20 years that nobody really sees outside of when you go on. First of all, I've been doing it for free for 18 years. And we just started touring. We just started doing this thing at Largo. And like, you know, so each time I did it at UCB, 100 people would see it. Even if I did 100 sold out shows, it's like, now we're touring. Now we have thousands of people seeing it, but it's the same thing. Once we leave that theater, you know, nobody in the streets know who the hell, what we just did.
Right.
So it's like, it was such a big deal for now. Millions of people could see it. but now so critically it's great, but we don't get more specials unless a lot of people watch it. So now we wait to see if we get the green light.
Keep those retweets going, man. Just keep fucking shamelessly promoting.
It feels so dirty. Space Force is coming out on Netflix too, and I think that'll help. Space Force and Middleditch and Schwartz being on the same platform, I think hopefully will help somehow.
Get that algorithm going.
But that's our baby. Middleditch and Schwartz is our baby. It's like
it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, right?
I know
when it came
crazy.
out.
The response has been crazy, and also it's slowly gaining steam, is what we heard. Like every day, more people watch it. Like more people than the last day have watched it.
Because there's still that barrier. Like improv, like I mean, you guys are doing like a service to that craft or whatever, because it's like you're already kind of signing up for something that's a little bit, unique. So it's gonna you're kind of pioneers in that sense.
Well, you explained it really well, and I will take the being shit on that. Oftentimes, in people who watch stand up, when you talk about improv, it's like the butt of the joke, or like you'd be like, "Oh God, we got to go to an improv show." You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think you explained that correctly, because outside of the people who do it, that's the sense of what improv is a little bit, because they've only seen like class shows. And there's been very few specials. I did one for Showtime. Ask Cat did one or two. TJ and Dave, who are legendary Chicago improvisers, have a documentary. But there's so few, as opposed to stand-up, you can see 1 billion stand-up specials. You can also go to huge theaters and see stand-up, when for long-form improv, there's very few people who go to big theaters to do it. So it's like there's nowhere to point. So the only reference that people have is class shows or people who've kind of been doing it, you know what I mean? And not like watching Kevin Hart do stand-up or watch Chappelle do stand-up, you know what I mean?
Do you think that, do you like improvers, do you think of yourselves as like a higher actor? Like I never, again, I'm kind of on that game, like that train where it was like, oh yeah, that's kind of like the little shop down the street does that improv thing. But like when you're on set, and are you like, I can do this without a script. It doesn't fucking matter to me.
That's amazing. No, it's by no means. If anything, you like want to prove to people that you can memorize their words and say that. You're like, no, I can.
You don't get on set and just rip the script up. And be like, I'll handle this.
I'll tell you how I'm going to do this.
There is a big joy. There is like a fun joy when they're like for Parks and Rec, they'd be like, all right, this is called a fun run. I probably told you guys last time, but so and then you go off, or like for House of Lies, the four of us together would kind of play with our words a little bit before we went out. Or sometimes they'll I'll be able to play and people come with, and then especially if you're improvising with like a really good actor who maybe hasn't improvised a ton, you learn that a big part of improvising is just listening and reacting truthfully, which if you're a good actor, you can hang because that person knows their character, they know what the scene is about, and you can play together. I think sometimes the thing that you really got to learn is when you're starting with nothing, like how to start and invent everything. But the actors that we play with, like Cheadle was incredible. Even people like Blake Griffin did the Snowpants show with us a bunch of time. He crushed. J.J. Abrams was amazing.
Griffin's a ton of a bitch. He can do everything. It's unfair if he wasn't 7 feet tall. I think he would be a professional. I'm not even doing a bit. If he wasn't 6'10", he would be a professional comedian or writer. But you see and the people who saw it, actors that would come to our show or see this, they would be so inspired by it and want to do it because it seems like a great form. It's just scene work. And if you like acting, it's basically scene work, just you're making it all up.
It's fucking incredible, man.
I can't believe how much John's beard has grown throughout this whole thing.
I don't think I didn't see the John Loves Babysitter's name.
Why did you even change that, dude?
It was so long ago.
I saw. I noticed while you were talking earlier. I was like, when I didn't even see his hands move. But eating cereal, it's amazing.
I know. I felt rude that I was eating while talking to you guys. I didn't want to be disrespectful.
No, it's actually that's been something that's happened in quarantine. Is like we just start doing interviews while we eat. It's like
there are no fucking rules anymore.
Now, are you able to get, or maybe it's just because I like you guys and we've become friends via this press stuff, but it's like, are you able to get people you never could get before? Because now there's you're just home right now. You can get fucking, I don't know why I'm saying John Starks, but just because I was watching last time. But you can get athletes that you never could get before because literally they're home. They can't run now.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting any higher level guests, but it's been easier to if you DM someone and it's like, hey, can you talk about this? Because I know you have nothing else to do. So you better have a good excuse. So there's definitely been a few interviews like that, but I feel
that's also a dangerous area to play in though. Cause also it's like texting a girl who you know has her phone, and it's like, "Hey, you free?" And they're like,
That's a
"No."
great
If they say
line.
no, you're fucked.
Yeah, that is true.
I know you're just ignoring, and then that's fine. You know, you're allowed to do it. It just hurts the ego.
There is right now. I've been doing a lot of press, which feels why just because the world is melting. But and so a bunch of my days are packed, and then I'm writing. So I'll go from one thing to the other, and then someone will be like, "Can you do that?" Like they'll ask somebody if I can do something, and I sincerely can't. And then I have to like tell them, no, but tell them like it's not a bit. Like, yeah, tell them that, like Monday and Tuesday we're doing press from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I don't have a minute,
right.
you know. So yeah,
I know it's early. I got one more thing for you because I saw your Instagram post.
We have till 9:45.
Okay.
We don't. Okay. Please don't take it though. Please don't take it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go to 9:44 then.
At 10 a.m. I talk to second graders. I talked to a second grade class in Philadelphia.
Oh boy,
really?
Yeah, if you guys want to get involved, it'd be real uncomfortable for your podcast.
I tried to get involved in like a Big Brother program once, and they just said no thanks.
I get that. I get it.
Yeah, I got it too.
Are you? I saw your Jordan Last Dance jokes, which are just fucking great because it sounds like MJ. I mean, we're at the point where. Did you see the clip of? It was on JJ Redick's podcast. They said that.
Oh, I haven't heard JJ's podcast. Is it amazing? Because he's a smart dude. I met him once or twice, and he was very kind, and he just loves basketball.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to have like a active player who like was just out there talking that shit. I don't know if it's him. There's someone on the show saying that Jordan went up to Hannah Storm and another female reporter and told them they were pregnant before they had told anybody. Like MJ has this pregnancy censor thing.
And was he correct?
Yes. At least so says the story. Because I don't know what to believe. I mean, all these things, it's like William Wallace stories, you know? He said that they leaned in and was just like, so when do you do? And the girl was like, what the fuck? So I feel like, I mean, the legend of MJ, I didn't think could grow anymore. And it's grown like exponentially.
There's like you heard that Shaq story about Stevie Wonder when he was in the elevator with Stevie? Like stuff like that. I love that. Also, Shaq, funny as hell, nice guy, really kind dude. Or at least to me, he was at least.
The MJ thing that's something only Michael Jordan can do. Like you can't just go up to a woman and say, "When are you due?"
No way.
If that's anyone but Michael Jordan, that story is not told with a smile on your face.
What were your teams growing up? Is there any part of the docu series that you've connected with the most that you're like, oh, like for me, watching the Knicks, watching them lose again was so hard. Like I remember I cried during the Rockets finals. And then I also, by the way, I didn't have money to get them, but I didn't have like Jordans ever because fuck that. I was a huge Knicks fan. He beat us every year. He was like our Thanos. We hated him. And then after you grow up and you realize that, your allegiance as a child may be a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Like, going to Oakley's car wash just to give him more money just in case. That, whatchamacallit, then I got my first pair of Jordans. It was like an incredible feeling. And now I'm addicted to all of them and stuff like that. But which one of those episodes do you connect with the most?
Nick's portion is terrible. It's awful. It's just watching like Charles Smith miss those fucking like 4 layups.
Oh my God.
Act and like, oh, it's brutal. And then when they were finally gone, John Starks goes like 0 for 17.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough. It was not great. But it's so weird that he transcends that. It's like, I should be more mad, but at some point, you just kind of like give into the greatness,
The doc almost makes you root for him to beat the Knicks.
Right.
As a Knicks fan, you're like,
let
him have this. It's so good. He's got to do this again.
Right.
I'm doing that right now with Brady, where I'm like, oh boy, the Pats and the Buccaneers play in the Super Bowl. I don't know. Like it's gonna
really.
It's good. I mean, I love Brady. Like I wasn't even really a football fan before Brady. I was 11, I think. So like, I wasn't really anything before Brady. But we talked about that extensively.
Who was the Patriots quarterback before Brady?
Drew Bledsoe, who was like he's the number 1 pick. He was
on McDonald's Cubs. Are you kidding me?
He was legit. So like I watched Bledsoe. I like Bledsoe, but I didn't love the Patriots until Brady. So we've talked about it extensively. Like, am I going to root for him to beat my team? We're going to find out. I don't know.
It's a weird dynamic. All right, we're going to let you go because it's early in the morning. You're already giving us enough time. But please keep in touch. We love the show. We'd love to go to the show.
And I'll get you those tickets. I just don't know. The scary thing is I don't know when. We moved a bunch of dates, but we're not getting on stage until it's like 100% safe. So it could be I have no idea. I don't know if you guys have estimates, but it could be next year. I don't know what it is.
I would guess 2021.
Yeah, it's just not even worth throwing out estimates. It's just like it'll happen when it happens. Until it's safe, everybody, be safe.
Kevin, where are you? What city are you in? You're in New York?
I'm in New York.
What part of New York?
I'm in Mount Vernon in the Westchester.
Oh, come on! I know it well. We played you in basketball, and then
Triggerdale, right?
Where are you? At that time. I was in Edgemont.
Okay. I played in Pelham, and Edgemont always beat the fucking shit out of us.
By the way, oh my goodness, we had the best. We went to the county center and we played Mount Vernon. You guys had a basketball player. You're younger than me, I think. I'm 38. How old are you? Like 32? 35. But you guys had a basketball player that was dominant. I mean, like insanely dominant, right?
In Pelham?
No, in Mount Vernon. Were you not there then?
Yeah. Ben Gordon was in Mount Vernon. He was fucking awesome.
Oh, there was some. We beat Mount Vernon when we shouldn't have beaten Mount Vernon. I think it was.
Dude, beating Mount Vernon is no joke.
No, maybe we didn't. Maybe this is a different story. Mount Vernon's the one that killed us. Oh, maybe Mount Vernon's the team that we played in rec league where we got dunked on more than we ever been dunked on.
Yes, we played Mount Vernon in a New Rochelle summer league. I kid you not.
Yes, we were in that league.
Yes, and we should not have been in it.
What was it? BET? Which league was it?
I was at Lincoln Park. I know that.
Oh, I think that was the one where the guy from Mount Vernon literally dunked on us and had these one-handed dunks where when he would dunk, he pulled the rim a little bit each time.
Dude, I got a ball thrown off my face N1 style of that league. I mean, we were getting massacred. We lost.
My story was very incorrect.
Wait, Kevin, you had a ball thrown off your face once in an actual basketball
game?
And
I just fucking hacked the dude. I looked this way for a pick. I turned back and he fucking threw it at me and I just hacked him across his arms.
Do you remember before I leave? Do you remember the first time? Well, I realized that I was never going to dunk a ball. The closest I got, I dunked a softball once. But when I realized I never could dunk a ball, and then I realized that if I alley-ooped it to someone who could dunk, it felt like I was dunking. That's one of the best feelings as a kid ever. When you're like, "This is as close as I'm going to get," and like you feel it if you put it in the perfect place.
It's like that was me. Yeah,
it's the best feeling in the universe. All right, stay safe, guys. Thanks for having, and thank you for. Saying those kind words, both of you guys, about the special. It means a lot. I think we only get to do more if a ton of people watch it. So even that little thing will help a ton.
We're going to do our best.
Everyone watch Space Force. Everyone watch this. everyone watch Middleditch and Schwartz. Everyone, what's the movie with Billy Crystal? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Oh, Standing Up, Falling Down. Yeah, that was a fun one too.
You got everything.
Have you guys seen Space Force or no?
No. We actually just talked to Jimmy O Yang yesterday though.
He's the best, and he loves sports too.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's a good dude, man. I like Jimmy a lot. And he has a stand-up special, too. I haven't seen it yet, but I saw the trailer, and it's hilarious.
That's what he was promoting. It's very, very good. It's called Good Deal on Amazon Prime. So check out that after Middleditch and Schwartz.
All right. Well, good to see you guys. Happy to catch up.
Right.